how they catch baboons in Malaya.
All right. Yes, there's no putting it off any longer.
No.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, we'll rally round the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom. And we'll rally from the hillside, we'll gather from the plain, shouting the battle cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Down with the traitor and up with the star, while we rally round the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom. Oh, we're springing to the call for 300,000 more, shouting the battle cry of freedom. And we'll fill the vacant ranks of our brothers gone before, shouting,
sing with us if you dare,
freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Down with the traitor and up with the star, while we rally round the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom.
We will welcome to our number the loyal, true, and brave,
shouting the battle cry of freedom.
And although he may be poor, he shall never be a slave,
shouting the battle cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Down with the traitor and up with the star, while we rally round the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We are indeed the 97th Regimental String Band. We're singers, songsters, storytellers from America's historical past. We're glad you decided to jump into our little musical time machine tonight here at Sandusky. And I hope for the next hour and a half or so you'll come back with us in time, back to a time when folks just like you used to sing songs just like this every single day of their lives. And they liked it too.
Oh, we're springing to the call from the east and from the west, shouting the battle cry of freedom. And we'll hurl the rebel crew from the land we love the best, Pittsburgh, shouting the battle cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Down with the traitor and up with the star, while we rally round the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom.
Thank you so much. How many Yankees do we have here today? Yay! How many rebels do we have? Ooh, outnumbered again. Well, how many folks do we have who have no idea where they're from? Or how to get back there? Well, we sing songs of north, south, and all the stripes in between because we are practitioners of the gentle art of old-time music. This was a time, some of you youngsters might not realize, 150 years ago or so, when there was no recorded music. There was no boom boxes, no iPods, M-Pods, L-Pods, no, not even the phonograph, no radios, no televisions, no computer games, nothing like that. There's no recorded music at all. And that meant that folks, just like you, used to have to sing the songs that they liked because there was no other way to have music. If you were talented enough to play a musical instrument, that was one thing, but mostly you relied on the voice that God gave you. And you sang songs all the time. We hope we can rekindle a little of that spirit in you all tonight by singing some of the all the hits of the 60s, as we like to say, the 1860s. We started out with a Yankee song, so now we're going to do a rebel song for you, and this is one of our favorites called The Bonnie Blue Flag.
We are a band of brothers and native to the soil. We're fighting for our liberty with treasure, blood, and toil. And when our rights were threatened, the cry was near and far. Hurrah for the bonny blue flag that bears a single star.
Here's the chorus.
Hurrah, hurrah, for Southern rights, hurrah. Hurrah for the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. As long as the Union was faithful to her trust, like friends and like brethren, kind were we and just. But now in northern treachery attempts our rights to mar, we hoist on high the bonny blue flag that bears a single star.
Sing now.
Hurrah, hurrah, for Southern rights, hurrah, hurrah, for the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. First Allen, South Carolina, nobly made her stand. Then came Alabama, who took her by the hand. Next quickly Mississippi, Georgia and Florida, all raise on high the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. Hurrah, hurrah, for Southern rights, hurrah, hurrah, for the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. Ye men of valor, gather round the banner of the right, for Texas and fair Louisiana join us in our fight. And Davis, our brave president, and Stephen, statesman rare, all rally round the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. Hurrah, hurrah, for Southern rights, hurrah, hurrah, for the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. Then here's to brave Virginia, the old Dominion state, who with the young Confederacy at length has linked her fate. Impelled by her example, now other states prepare to hoist on high the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. Hurrah, hurrah, for Southern rights, hurrah, hurrah, for the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. Mr. Banjo. Cheer, boys, cheer, raise a joyous shout, for Arkansas and North Carolina now have both gone out. And let another rousing cheer for Tennessee be given. The single star, the bonny blue flag, has grown to be 11. Hurrah, hurrah, for Southern rights, hurrah, hurrah, for the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. Then here's to our Confederacy, strong we are and brave. Like patriots of old, we'll fight our heritage to save. And rather than submit to shame, to die we would prefer. So cheer for the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. Hurrah, hurrah, for Southern rights, hurrah, hurrah, for the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. I say hurrah, hurrah, for Southern rights, hurrah, hurrah, for the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. Hurrah! Give yourselves a hand.
Good singing.
Mighty good singing there. I like that bonny blue flag because it mentions all the states in the order in which they seceded from the Union and formed their own confederacy. That's the order in which it happened there. Texas, especially fond of Texas, because my nickname is Tex. You know, people call me Tex all the time.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people calling you.
That's true. They call me Texas because Texas is my nickname. Yeah.
They call you Tex, but you're not from Texas, are you?
No, I'm not from Texas.
But they call you Tex.
That's right.
Where are you from?
Well, I'm actually from Louisiana.
If you're from Louisiana, why do they call you Tex?
Because I don't let nobody call me Louise. Just be silly now, wouldn't it?
Makes sense.
You know how many Virginians it takes to change a light bulb?
You're going to find out how many vegetables are out there, aren't you? No, how many Virginians does it take to change a light bulb?
Sir, it actually takes 5 Virginians to change a light bulb.
5 Virginians? What, they got great big light bulbs up there?
Regular size light bulbs.
Just tiny Virginians?
Regular size Virginians. But it takes 5 of them, you see. It takes 1 Virginian to actually change the light bulb and 4 more to sit on the front porch of a lovely summer evening and just talk about what a fine old light bulb the old one was. Maybe 1 extra Virginian to put up a historical marker or something. You never know. Change a few road signs around.
Yeah, take down some of the street signs.
Take down some of them nasty street signs that'll guide you there.
We always know when we reach Virginia because we're lost.
Yeah, that's true. We figured out also on this trip how the state of Virginia can save so much money on paper towels at the rest areas. You know how they did it? They put in those motion-activated dispensers. See?
Well, you move your hand in front of it and it spits a towel out for you.
Couldn't do that. Well, Virginians being sort of, you know, well, let me put it this way. You know why there are no recipes for turtle soup in Virginia?
No, why are there no recipes for turtle soup in Virginia?
Because nobody here can catch them.
You wouldn't be fast.
Whoa. The crowd's turning ugly. Yeah.
Some of them come in that way.
That's true. Well, let's do a good old Southern song now. Before you have to go buy the tomatoes that he's selling half price over here, and the eggs. We're going to sing about that best of all Southern foods. And I'm not talking about grits or mumble grunny or spacklins or nothing like that, a special thing. I'm talking about putting a big handful of juicy, brown, delicious goobers in your mouth and eating them. Now, some of you folks making faces may be real Yankees because you don't know that goobers is what they used to call peanuts. A goober is a peanut. A goober pea actually is a word, and the song is goober pea. Sit up straight and let me teach you the goober pea song. Maybe you'll sing along too. Repeat after me. Peas. 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 Eating goober peas. Eating goober peas. Goodness, how delicious. Goodness, how delicious. Now, wait a minute. These folks in Virginia can do better with the accent than that. Goodness, how delicious. Goodness, how delicious. Eating goober peas. That's right. When that comes around, y'all sing it now.
Sitting by the roadside on a summer's day, chatting with my messmates, passing time away. Lying in the shadows underneath the trees, goodness how delicious, eating goober peas. Now, peas, 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 eating goober peas. Goodness how delicious, eating goober peas. When a horseman passes, the soldiers have a rule to cry out their loudest, hey mister, here's your mule. But another pleasure enchantinger than these is wearing out your grinders, eating goober peas. Oh, peas, 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 eating goober peas. Goodness how delicious, eating goober peas. Just before the battle, the general hears a row. He says the Yanks are coming, I hear their rifles now. He turns around in wonder, and what do you think he sees? The Georgia militia, eating goober peas. Oh, peas, 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 eating goober peas. Goodness how delicious, eating goober peas. Lasted almost long enough. The subject's interesting, but rhymes are mighty rough. I wish this war was over, when free from rags and fleas, we kiss our wives and sweethearts and gobble goober. Sing now! Oh, peas, 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 eating goober peas. Goodness how delicious.
One more time, everybody!
Oh, peas, 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 eating goober peas. Goodness how delicious, eating goober peas.
Give yourselves a hand. Come on now. That was good singing. You folks sing like you haven't had a pea in a week. No, ma'am, not what you're thinking. I mean a goober pea. Shame on you. Shame on you.
From watching the old movies, I got the idea that the Civil War was fought by men in their late 20s or early 30s. Actually, the largest number of troops to fight in the Civil War by age were the 18-year-olds. There were 800,000 troops that were 17 years old and younger. And out of those, 105,000 troops were 14 years old and younger. So this wasn't a war of men, but a war of young boys, away from home for the first time in their lives. It's only natural one of the most popular songs to come out of the war would be about being back at home with your family and your loved ones. Just before the battle, mother, I am thinking most of you, while upon the field we're watching, with the enemy in view. Comrades brave around me lying, filled with thoughts of home and God. For well they know that on the morrow some will sleep beneath the sun. Farewell, mother, you may never press me to your heart again. But oh, you'll not see you, Mother, and the loving ones at home. But I'll never leave our banner till in honor I can come. Tell the traitors all around you that their cruel words we know. In every battle kill our soldiers, by the help they give the foe.
Sing with us, won't you?
Farewell, Mother, you may never press me to your heart again. But oh, you'll not forget me, Mother, if I'm numbered with the slain. Sounding, 'tis the signal for the fight. Now may God protect us, Mother, as He ever does the right. Hear the battle cry of freedom, how it swells upon the air. Oh yes, we'll rally round the standard, or we'll perish nobly there. Farewell, Mother, you may never press me to your heart again. But oh, you'll not forget me, Mother, I'm numbered with the slain.
Mr. Mad Dog Luce. Beautiful old song. That just before the battle, Mother's my Aunt Edna's favorite song. She was hoping to get up here, but she just didn't make it. Had a horrible accident, right? She was packing up to come on up here to Lynchburg, and just terrible accident.
Tripped over her cat?
No, she didn't trip over a cat. She swallowed, just by accident, she swallowed a $20 gold piece.
Oh, my!
Swallowed it right down.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, the whole family heard about it too, and of course, they all rushed over there to be at Aunt Edna's side to the time of her great distress, as it were. And we've been keeping now a 24-hour watch over Aunt Edna.
Well, how's she doing?
There's no change yet.
$20 is $20.
Well, that last song there, just before the battle, Mother, that was written by George F. Root, who was a music publisher in Chicago. And he wrote a lot of songs. A lot of songwriters wrote songs specifically about the war. Just during the 4 years of the American Civil War, there were estimated now, over 6,000 songs written by professional songwriters. And this was in a day before there was any kind at all of recorded music. So this was just for sheet music, people in their player pianos and their parlor guitars and such like that, so that music was written for the war. But also popular, and actually more popular with the soldiers in the field, were songs that were written before the war. And one of the prime songwriters of American history was Mr. Stephen Collins Foster, who isn't with us anymore, of course. Stevie died in 1864, that is. And But he wrote over 200 songs of American life. And one of his, I think one of the genius aspects of Mr. Foster was that he was one of the first American songwriters who did not copy the European model of operas and singing about nobles and princes and things like that, because we didn't have those kind of people over here. He sang about ordinary people like us, like you, like your family, like people that you know. And poor people, rich people, mostly about poor people and average folks. And he wrote lots and lots of songs about them, mainly for the minstrel shows and for the other entertainments. We'd like to do one of those now, which is, I think, one of his most pleasant little tunes. Craig Wolford, our banjologist here, is going to render for us a nice little pleasant little love song about Nellie Bly.
Nellie Bly, bring the broom along. We'll sweep the kitchen clean, my dear, and have a little song. Poke the wood, my lady love, make the fire burn. And while I get the banjo down, just give the mouse your turn. Hey, Nellie, ho, Nellie, listen, love, to me. I'll sing for you and play for you a dulcet melody.
Sing it with us.
Hey, Nellie, ho, Nellie, listen, love, to me. I'll sing for you and play for you a dulcet melody. Nellie Bly has a voice like a turtle dove. I hear it in the meadow and I hear it in the grove. Nellie Bly has a heart warm as a cup of tea and bigger than the sweet potato down in Tennessee. Hey, Nellie, ho, Nellie, listen, love, to me. I'll sing for you and play for you a dulcet melody. Hey, Nellie, ho, Nellie, listen, love, to me. I'll sing for you and play for you a dulcet melody. Nellie Bly shuts her eye when she goes to sleep, and when she wakens up again, her eyeballs begin to peep. And when she steps, she lifts her foot, then she puts it down. And where it lights, there's music there in that part of the town. Hey, Nellie, ho, Nellie, listen, love, to me. I'll sing for you and play for you a dulcet melody. Hey, Nellie, ho, Nellie, listen, love, to me. I'll sing for you and play for you a dulcet melody. Teardrop to the corner of your eye, for the pie is made of pumpkin and the mush is made of corn, and there's corn and pumpkin, plenty love lying in the barn. Hey, Nellie, ho, Nellie, listen, love, to me. I'll sing for you and play for you a dulcet melody. Hey, Nellie, ho, Nellie, listen, love, to me. I'll sing for you and play for you a dulcet melody.
Craig Wolford, Nellie Bly. Simple song about a girl and some food. Who could want more? You can have the girl, I'll take the food. God bless the Golden Corral.
And all who sail in her.
Ah, yes. We left them weeping today. Speaking of sailing, we're going to do a few nautical songs. Do we have any real sailors out there? Anybody who's ever been on a ship? Have you? A battleship, maybe, a cruiser, a destroyer, rowboat?
Submarine.
Huh? Submarine. Oh, that's the tough way to go.
Not if it works right.
Well, that's true. Always shut the screen door first. The Civil War, of course, did not take place just on the land. There were naval actions as well, not just on the inland rivers. But the Confederacy did not have battleships per se that sailed the blue water. They relied on commerce raiders, ships that that would could disguise themselves. Ships like the Shenandoah, the Florida, and of course the most famous of all, the CSS Alabama. The Alabama, in her brief career, was able to capture over 60 Union warships and sink or capture over 200 tons of goods headed for the northern shores. Their technique was simple. They would disguise themselves as another ship. They could put up extra smokestacks or put up masts or
rearrange the deck,
hang different curtains in the windows and hang a different flag on the flagpole, of a neutral country. And when a merchant vessel would be sailing along, this supposedly Dutch or Spanish ship would sail up next to them. All of a sudden, down would go that flag, and up would go the Confederate battle flag and naval standard, and up would go the gun ports, and boom, another drive-by or float-by. And they were pretty successful at it, real successful at it. Until about 1864, in the latter part of the year, when the Alabama had put into the port of Cherbourg, France, a neutral country, to sell her load of chronometers and whatever she had taken from the other ships. And the captain of a U.S. warship, a real heavily gunned warship called the Kearsarge, had heard that the Alabama, Raphael Semmes, captain of the Alabama, he loaded up his crew, and out they sailed, and the people of Cherbourg, France, scurried up to the cliffs overlooking the harbor there and watched the famous battle between the Kearsarge and the Alabama. This is commemorated in this little sea chanty, of which your part is to sing with us, "Roll, Alabama, roll." Let's hear you say that. Roll, Alabama, roll. Okay, put some fight in it, even if you're an Auburn fan.
When the Alabama's keel was laid, roll, Alabama, roll. It was laid in the yard of Jonathan Laird. Oh, roll, Alabama, roll. It was laid in the yard of Jonathan Laird. Roll, Alabama, roll. It was laid in the town of Birkenhead. Oh, roll, Alabama, roll. Down the Mersey way she rolled then. Roll, Alabama, roll. Liverpool fitted her with guns and men. Oh, roll, Alabama, roll. From the western isles she sailed forth. Roll, Alabama, roll. To destroy the commerce of the north. Oh, roll, Alabama, roll. To Cherbourg port she sailed one day. Roll, Alabama, roll. To take her count of prize money. Oh, roll, Alabama, roll. Many a sailor lad foresaw his doom. Roll, Alabama, roll. When the Kearsarge hove in view, oh, roll, Alabama, roll. A ball from the forward pivot that day. Roll, Alabama, roll. Shot the Alabama stern away. Oh, roll, Alabama, roll. Off the 3-mile limit in '64. Roll, Alabama, roll. The Alabama sank to the ocean floor. Oh, roll, Alabama, roll. When the Alabama's keel was laid. Roll, Alabama, roll. It was laid in the yard of Jonathan Laird. Oh, roll, Alabama, roll.
Arr, mateys, good singing there. Arr, I said arr. And you notice we did that song a cappella, which, as you know, means without propellers, because these were sailing ships.
Well, one of the reasons for being a sailor during the American Civil War, at least at the start of the war, was that you were given a daily ration of grog, which was rum, seriously watered down to the point of almost worthlessness, but it was still something. That was up until around 1862, I believe it was. The temperance movement, think of sort of like the anti-smoking movement that's been going on in this country over the last few years. The temperance movement at that time was trying to stop all liquor, all usage of liquor and everything. And they were gaining some political power and some clout. And so the Navy brass decided that it wasn't really good for the men to be having spirits on board the ship and liquor and demon rum, that sort of thing. So The order came down from top that as of September the 1st of 1862, that all liquors would be removed from U.S. ships of war. There would be no more grog ration for the men. Which meant that on the night of August the 31st of that same year, there was one really big party, as they tried to drink up all of the liquor and get rid of it, so they wouldn't have to waste it throwing it overboard. This song was written for that sad occasion, and probably sung for the first time at one of the many, many drinking fests. Come, messmates, pass the bottle round, our time is short, remember, for our grog must stop and our spirits drop on the first day of September. For tonight we'll merry, merry be, for tonight we'll merry, merry be, for tonight we'll merry, merry be, tomorrow we'll be sober.
That's the chorus. When it comes around again, latch on, me hearties.
Farewell, old ride, is a sad, sad word, but alas, it must be spoken. For the ruby cup must be given up, and the demijohn be broken. For tonight we'll merry, merry be, for tonight we'll merry, merry be, for tonight we'll merry, merry be, tomorrow we'll be sober. Jack's happy days will soon be gone to return again, oh never, for they've raised his pay 5 cents a day, but stopped his grog forever. For tonight we'll merry, merry be, for tonight we'll merry, merry be, for tonight we'll merry, merry be, tomorrow we'll be sober. Then memory oft will backwards turn and dwell with fondness partial on the days when gin was not a sin nor cocktails but court-martial. For tonight we'll merry, merry be, for tonight we'll merry, merry be, for tonight we'll merry, merry be, tomorrow we'll be sober. All hands to splice the main brace call, but splice it now in sorrow, for the spirit room key will be laid away forever on tomorrow. For tonight we'll merry, merry be, for tonight we'll merry, merry be, for tonight we'll merry, merry be, tomorrow we'll be sober. For tonight we'll merry, merry be, for tonight we'll merry, merry be, for tonight we'll merry, merry be, tomorrow we'll be sober.
And that song also illustrates part of the joy of Civil War music for the actual participants. A lot of the songs didn't come from very long ago, even for them. Some of them came from even farther back. That's the tune to that is Three Jolly Coachmen?
Landlord Fill the Flowing Bowl.
Landlord Fill the Flowing Bowl, an old English drinking song. And we've sung to grog. Now we have to sing a song to beer to give, equal time to everybody here. Always politically correct. That's what we want to be, always, no matter what.
How appropriate to be doing old English drinking songs on Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson, one of the tallest Americans.
Oh, okay. Even when he was drinking?
Especially when he was drinking. He got even taller when he was drinking. He was supposedly 6'4". If he had a glass of wine, he was 6'8". And mean as a snake.
Myself, my head would get, oh yeah. Where were we? Let's see.
Now here's the song dedicated to not only to drink, but to one of the oldest of professions. Let the back and the sides go bare, me boys, let the hands and the feet gang cold, but give to the belly boys beer enough, whether it be new or old. Let the back and the sides go bare, me boys, let the hands and the feet gang cold, but give to the belly boys beer enough, whether it be new or old.
I'd rather be a beggar than a king, and the reason I tell you why. A king cannot swagger nor drink like a beggar, nor be half so happy as I. Let the back and the sides go bare, me boys, let the hands and the feet gang cold, but give to the belly boys beer enough, whether it be new or old. I have tuppence in my pocket and I worked hard for it, kind landlord, here it is. Neither Jew nor Turk shall make me work while begging's as good as it is. Let the back and the sides go bare, me boys, let the hands and the feet gang cold, but give to the belly boys beer enough, whether it be new or old.
Sometimes we lie like pigs in the sty with a flock of straw on the ground. Sometimes we're crust that's rolled in the dust, and we're thankful that that can be found.
Let the back and the sides go bare, me boys, let the hands and the feet gang cold, but give to the belly boys beer enough, whether it be new or old.
Sometimes we call at a nobleman's hall and beg for bread and beer.
Sometimes we are lame,
Sometimes we are blind.
Sometimes too deaf to hear. Let the back and the sides go bare, me boys, let the hands and the feet hang cold. What give to the belly boys beer enough, whether it be new or old? Let the back and the sides go bare, me boys, let the hands and the feet hang cold. But give to the belly boys beer enough, whether it be new or old.
Thank you.
Well, as I look across this vast, steaming, seething tide of Virginians, I'm reminded that Virginia has contributed, I believe, more presidents to the American scene than any other state. A huzzah for Virginia. Yes, and we come from Florida, where presidential elections are becoming a sort of a not only great entertainment, but a sort of
like American Idol, it goes on forever.
it just keeps on going, the gift that keeps on giving. We like to say that, especially after the 2000 election, that in Florida there are only 3 different kinds of people who live in the state of Florida: those that can count and those that can't. So we are proud to come up here to the frozen Northland to bring you the good word that elections are alive and well in our fair state. And we want to encourage all you gentlemen out there in the upcoming election to vote for our man, Mr. Abraham Lincoln, running for re-election. I hope all of you are good Lincoln Republicans out there.
Proto-Republican,
Ready,
the first
yes,
Republican.
the first real one to make a mark in the world. And well, I don't know. Actually, I don't know if they're all Lincoln Republicans. Some of them have sort of that skeptical look. Hope there's no.
Maybe a quick survey of the
a quick
political
survey,
affiliation.
perhaps. Yes. When I mention your political party, would you kindly raise your hand? Are there any mugwumps out there? Do we have any mugwumps?
Oh,
There's
I
one wump, 2 wumps, a wump and a half down there. Count the little one. Half a wump. Over there.
Half a wump is better than none.
Half a wump is better. Do we have any wide awakes? Anybody in the wide awake party? No? No? Anybody in the know-nothing party? There's always plenty of them. He's a double know-nothing over there. Raise 2 hands. How about Loco Focos? Do we have any Loco Focos?
Big party?
That was a real party back then. Loco Focos. I hope the rest of you are not Copperhead Democrats voting for McClellan. Oh, boy, I hope not. Oh, no. Oh, hear that hiss of them copperback rattle moccasins in the woodwork. That's good. We don't want any of them. We want to make sure all you gentlemen get out to vote for our man, Mr. Abraham Lincoln. You ladies, of course, have your role in the election, too. You know, get your gentlemen out on election day sober and ready to vote, you know, and everything. You know, didn't you hear about this, Mad Dog, that there is some sort of movement? Did you hear about it, Greg? Some movement to give women the vote?
Oh, yeah, that's that universal suffrage. That universal suffrage movement. Big mistake. Big mistake. You give women the right to vote. First thing they do, they outlaw liquor.
No, that could never happen in America.
No.
Outlaw liquor.
I know what they do.
What do you think women would do if they got the vote?
Why, the first thing, you know, they'd all get together and vote in a president from Texas.
Texas?
Or Arkansas?
Never have president
No
from
way.
Arkansas. Texas?
Not in Virginia, that's where presidents come from, not them other states. Anyway, here's our song for our man, and we hope you'll sing along and vote along.
Hurrah for the choice of our nation, our chieftain so brave and so true. We'll go for the great Reformation, for Lincoln and liberty too. We'll go for the son of Kentucky, the hero of Hoosierdom true. The pride of the sucker so lucky, for Lincoln and liberty too. Our David's good sling is unerring, the slave-ocrat's giant he slew. So shout for the freedom preferring, for Lincoln and liberty too. We'll go for the son of Kentucky, the hero of Hoosierdom true. The pride of the sucker so lucky, for Lincoln and liberty too. They'll find what by felling and mauling our railmaker statesmen can do. The people
people are everywhere calling for Lincoln and liberty too. We'll go for the son of Kentucky, the hero of Hoosierdom true, the pride of the sucker so lucky, for Lincoln and liberty too.
You know, fellas, I just found out the derivation of the word politics. You know, the word politics comes from two other words. Yes, it does. It comes from the Greek word poly, meaning many, and the word ticks, meaning blood-sucking parasites. It's true.
Stand up with our banner so glorious, the star-spangled red, white, and blue. We'll fight till our banner's victorious, for Lincoln and liberty too. We'll go for the son of Kentucky, the hero of Hoosierdom true, the pride of the sucker so lucky, for Lincoln and liberty too.
Vote early and often. Thank you. Give yourselves a hand. Good singing there.
Well, we did some sailor songs for you earlier. We'll do another sea shanty for you. They had, many of the sailors' songs were used as work songs. They were used to help the men keep a steady rhythm and synchronization of all the men pulling at the same time on the ropes. That was capstan shanties and hauling shanties. They also had a class of song that was called forecastle songs, which could be used as work songs as well, but generally they were used when you would be down in the ship's hold at night working the big pumps to keep the ship dry of water, because they all leaked a lot. And you'd have to stand your watch at the pumps for an hour or two, standing here working this big pump. During that time, keep you from going crazy with boredom, you'd sing songs and that sort of thing. So the songs were used at that time, and forecastle songs, the forecastle was where the sailors could take their time off, their leisure time, what little they had, and they would sing songs just for their own pleasure and amusement. So between working the pumps and sitting around in the forecastle, they had a lot of time to work on some of these songs. Some of the more melodious and soft songs were quite complicated and involved. There aren't that many sea shanties that are indigenous to the United States, because by the time the United States finally got its merchant fleet and navy together, all the other nations of the world had used up the really good sea shanties. But there were still a few good ones left. Actually, this is the best of all the sea shanties as far as I'm concerned. Although from what I understand, it did not start out as a sea shanty. It started out actually as just a plain folk song somewhere in the backwoods country of America. A song about the fur trade that was going on at that time. Somehow it made its way down to the ocean shore. The sailors got a hold of it, made it one of their favorite songs. The song's been around for a couple of centuries. Everyone who's gotten their hands on the song has changed it slightly, changed a word here and there, modified it. The original river name was the Ohio River. That got changed. There was also a story that went with the song. You'll still hear this song sung sometimes today, but the story has been pretty much forgotten and left behind. What we'll do for you now is what the song would have sounded like around 1850, when most of the story was still with it. Oh Shenandoah, I love your daughter, away rolling river. Oh Shenandoah, I want your daughter. Away, I'm bound away, across the wide Missouri.
Sing along with us, won't you, please?
The trader loved the Indian maiden, away, rolling river. His canoe with dollars laden. Away, I'm bound away, across the wide Missouri. The chief disdained the trader's dollars, away, rolling river. My daughter you shall never follow. Away, I'm bound away, across the wide Missouri. He gave Leave the cheese and fire water away, rolling river. And across the river he's stolen his daughter. Away, I'm bound away, across the wide Missouri. Oh, Shenandoah, you've lost your daughter. Away, rolling river. She's gone where you can't follow. Away, I'm bound away, across the wide Missouri. Shenandoah, I long to hear you. Away, rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to see you. Away, I'm bound away, across the wide Missouri.
The single thought on your minds right now should be only one thought. How in the world can you take us home with you today? I know it was easy for Greg and here at Sandusky to just call us up and say, hey fellas, come on up. That was easy. But you know, you have a problem. You may not have room in your home. But yes, you do have room in your home because you have room in your heart. And how in the world can you take us home with you? Through the miracle of modern magnetic musicality. I hold in my hand a souvenir of our time together. This is a string band tape. No, not just any string band tape. This is a tape of music by us, the 97th Regimental String Band. 15 songs of the Union and the Confederacy done in fine acoustical style by us, the 97th Regimental String Band. And I could see you getting ready to reach into your shoe. Reaching into your shoe for that special $100 bill you got folded up there. That butter and egg money you've been saving up for just such a musical emergency as this. You don't need that $100 bill, folks, not even here in Virginia. No sirree. We don't add extra federal taxes and such like that on them like the gasoline. No, sir. Besides, this here tape is not $100, $50, or $25. Get ready to gasp in amazement, friends, when I tell you that this tape can be yours. Are you ready to gasp? For only $10. Think $10 puts us, the 97th Regimental String Band, in your home for the rest of your natural life. Now, if that's not the most nauseating and perpetually astounding thought that you've had over the last few minutes, think of it in terms you can understand. This tape can pay for itself in one night.
How? That's your part.
This tape can pay for itself in one night. How? Well, here's how. You buy the tape, take it home, put it in your tape player, and turn it on. Let it cycle all through the night. Go to bed. Don't even listen to it. The very next morning, you come down and inspect your entire home, and you will find that your house has been blessedly rid of all rats, roaches, mice, silverfish, ants, crawling mole crickets, and bugs, and carpet beetles, all because of us, the 97th Regiment. But wait, as the band says, there's more. This tape can save your life. You know that traffic signal right here in Lynchburg, in your town, the one that always seems to be red when you want to get someplace. Now, I don't know how that signal knows that you are always in a perpetual state of anxiety as you approach. But picture the scene. It's a hot summer day. You've had your kids and the grandkids and their noisy, sweaty, smelly friends down there on Highway 29 out there, all day at Lefty's Pit Bull and Alligator Petting Zoo. And you're trying to bring them all back home at the same time. And that traffic light there just turns to red. Boom! Stops you dead in your tracks. And everybody's got to get home just as fast as they can. You're ready to die. You're ready to expire. There's going to be a revolution in your car if that light don't change to green. But will it change to green? And you sit there ready to die, and invariably, while you are trapped at that light, a pickup truck pulls up in the lane next to you, driven by a teenager. And it seems for all of a minute and a half, all you seem to be able to hear is Does this happen to you? Well, you want to do something about it. Yes, you reach across to your glove box. No, not for that 357 Magnum in there. No, but for your spare copy of us, the 97th Regimental String Band. You put our tape in your tape player, turn your volume up to stun. Roll your windows down and give that boy a taste of good old-time music. Do you know what's going to happen? No, you don't. He's not going to recognize this as music. No, sir. His ear bones, all teenagers' ear bones, have been scrambled by what they consider music. Dead Zeppelin, Elmo Pretzel, Puss Daddy, Puffy Ice Dog Daddy. Who ever heard of, groups like that? But he's going to feel the vibrations of washing over him. And he's going to think something done gone wrong with his truck. He'll think the engine's missing because of those strange noises. He'll climb out of his truck, open his hood, and that traffic light will sense his distress and anxiety and change to green, allowing you to speed home to safety. So in conclusion, my friends, shall I mention that not only have we, the highly eudaimonious and slightly aromatic 97th Regimental String Band, given you 15 songs of the Union and the Confederacy in fine acoustical style, but we have rid your home of exotic infestations and saved the lives of you and your posterity for prosperity, and all for the piddly old sum of $10. Where in the world can you get a bargain like that? Well, just gaze gently to your left and you will see, squatting on the lawn, there it is, our small but tastefully decorated shrine to capitalism. There it sits, just waiting for you, looking like a Venus customer trap, ready to snap shut on you and your precious wallet. But no, it won't. It's an absolutely sentient being. It's very passive, and you can come right over there and during the intermission, which is only one song away, form an orderly mob, no pushing, shoving, biting, scratching, or gouging, and you can take home as much of our music as you can carry with you, as much as your wallet will allow. Remember our slogan: 97th Regimental String Band tapes. You'll laugh, you'll cry. You'll kiss $10. Goodbye. Did I mention, I forgot to mention also in my flustipation here that we have 7 different volumes. No song is repeated on any one. The CDs are $15 and everything is on the tape is on the CDs. Nothing, no extra material or no cut-off material for no reason. But it's all for you. It's all for you. And we owe a gratitude not only to folks like Ron Popeil and other great salesmen, all those English guys that come over here and try to sell us knives and pork chops and screen doors and such like that and cleaning fluids, but we owe a debt of gratitude for keeping the old-time music alive to folks like the King, Elvis Presley, who kept the old song Oralee alive by changing the words to Love Me Tender, and all sorts of. But right now we'd like to finish off this half with our tribute to America's greatest of all country music singers. His name pops immediately into your mind, I'm sure.
Johnny Cash.
No, not Johnny Cash.
Hank Williams.
Not Hank Williams, no, sir.
Merle Haggard.
Not even Merle, no, sir. Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood?
Yes, sir.
Country, tall fella, big gun.
Big poncho, yep. Clint Eastwood. Remember the Outlaw Josie Wales? Remember that great movie he made, Outlaw Josie Wales? And remember the whole setup. He and Josie Wales, that's Clint Eastwood, and his Confederate partners surrendered to us mean, dastardly Yankees at the end of the Wawa. And we pulled a Gatling gun on them and shot them all, gattled them all down, except there was only 2 of them left, Josie Wales and his poor young Confederate soldier. And off they rode. They stole some Yankee horses and off they rode. Through the bushes, through the weeds, through the water.
Poison ivy.
Poison ivy. And the Yankees was after them just as fast as they could go. And finally they had outdistanced them a little bit. They had to slow down because remember that poor young Confederate soldier was wounded. He was mortally wounded, so they had to slow down. The horses were pretty tired too. But remember that touching scene is that poor young dying Confederate soldier who'd been mortally wounded. He slumped off his horse into the mud there in the rain. And his lifebloods were just oozing down the streams there. And he knew he was a dying. He just knew he was a dying. And Clint Eastwood, that's Josie Wales, leaning over and holding the poncho up over him. And he's, what can I do for you? And at the end here, and did that young boy ask to write a letter to his sweetheart? No. Did he ask to see a picture of his mama that he carried close to his heart? No. Did he even call for a preacher? Give him the last right? No. He just looked up at Clint Eastwood, Josie Wales, and said, Josie, sing Rose of Alabama for me. And Clint Eastwood, Josie Wales, he sang just one chorus of the Rose of Alabama. And that poor young Confederate soldier died. Deader than a stump. Right there. So let that be a lesson to you. Don't ever let somebody sing just part of a song to you. Make them sing the whole thing, because you're going to last longer. And get some more FaceTime on the big screen. And secondly, don't ever let Clint Eastwood sing to you, because that could be hazardous to your health. Here is our very own Big Poncho himself, Mr. Mad Dog Luce, from 1852, The Rose of Alabama.
Away from Mississippi's Vale, with my old hat there for a sail, crossed upon the cotton bale to Rose of Alabama. Oh, brown Rosie, Rose of Alabama, a sweet tobacco posy is the Rose of Alabama. A sweet tobacco posy is the Rose of Alabama. I landed on the far sandbank, I sat upon a hollow plank. There I made the banjo twang for Rose of Alabama. Oh, brown Rosie, Rose of Alabama, a sweet tobacco posy is the Rose of Alabama. A sweet tobacco posy is the Rose of Alabama. I said, sit down just where you please. Across my legs she took her ease. It's good to go upon the knee. There's Rose of Alabama. Oh, brown Rosie, Rose of Alabama, a sweet tobacco posy is the Rose of Alabama. A sweet tobacco posy is the Rose of Alabama. The river roll, the crickets sing, the lightning buggy flashes wings. Like a rope my arms I fling round Rose of Alabama. Oh, brown Rosie, Rose of Alabama, a sweet tobacco posy is the Rose of Alabama. A sweet tobacco posy is the Rose of Alabama. I hug so long I cannot tell, Rosie seemed to like it well. A banjo in the river fell, oh, Rose of Alabama. Oh, brown Rosie, Rose of Alabama, a sweet tobacco posy is the Rose of Alabama. A sweet tobacco posy is the Rose of Alabama. After prey I plunge in, but it float away. All the while it seemed to play the Rose of Alabama. Oh, brown Rosie, Rose of Alabama, a sweet tobacco posy is the Rose of Alabama. A sweet tobacco posy is the Rose of Alabama. Now every night in moon or shower, I hunt that banjo for an hour. I meet my sweet tobacco flower, Rose of Alabama. Oh, brown Rosie, Rose of Alabama, a sweet tobacco posy is the Rose of Alabama. A sweet tobacco posy is the Rose of Alabama.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll be back about 15 minutes. Hope you're back too. We promised that if you stayed through the whole show, we would put the air back in your tires. And we're just that kind of folks. Always like to start with a little philosophical waging is a word. Do you need to plug something in it? Plug in. Just to share a few of my grandmother's sayings. So we never did quite figure out the old lady. She was real nice, but you know how sometimes our ancestors and the people, our forebears that come before us, bearing us and things like that, was, you know, they say things that sometimes we just don't quite make sense to us as youngsters. And they always say, well, someday you'll realize that what I said is absolute truth. And we'd come in from playing and all hot and sweaty and getting some lemonade, and Grandma would say, remember, you can't judge the depth of the well by looking at the length of the pump handle. And we'd look at each other and say, yeah, Grandma, thank you, you're right. And then she'd just wander away, and then some other time she'd say, remember, son, you've got 5 times as many fingers as ears, but only twice as many ears as noses. Our favorite of all was when just before supper, we'd have Grandma say the prayer, and we'd bow our heads, and she'd say, I want everybody here to pray for every snowflake that falls into the volcano. There's a happy ending to all this, of course. So Grandma, very late in life, she took up jogging as an exercise.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, man. She started running, and we don't know where she is now, but it's only a hobby.
Okay.
Go ahead. Kick her off there, Uncle Craig.
Slung behind him. Land of song, said the warrior bard, though all the world betrays thee, one sword at least thy right shall guard, one faithful heart shall praise thee. Fell, but the foeman's chain could not bring that proud soul under. The heart he loved ne'er spoke again, for he tore its cords asunder, and said, no chain shall sully thee, thou soul of love and bravery. Thy songs were meant for the proud and free, they shall never sound in slavery. The minstrel boy shall return again, when we hear the news we will cheer it. The minstrel boy shall return again, torn perhaps in body, not in spirit. And then may he play his harp in peace, in a world as heaven hath intended, when all the works of war shall cease, and every battle must be ended.
Thank you. That, of course, is a tribute to the Irish. Is there anyone here with some Irish in them? Let's see those hands now. Proudly raise them Irish hands. That's right. Anybody here with a little Scotch in them? Bourbon. Bloody Marys. Cheap box wine. All right, a lot of cheap box wine here. Milk, over here. I hear milk from one of the younger members.
Do we have anyone in the audience named Mary?
Yes, is there anyone out there named Mary?
Oh, there was one in the back.
Oh, there's a Mary right there.
Oh, and another one towards the
Two Marys.
Great, they're right towards the back of the audience. I mean,
well, that's
way out
good.
of range.
Because in our tribute to the troops of Irish extraction who fought in the battles of North and South, we always like to honor one particular woman, Mary. And we always like to ask ahead of time so that we don't have to apologize later.
I once dressed up and I went to town to court a fair young lady. I inquired about her name. Her name was Devilish Mary. Come a fa-la-ling-a-ling-a-Larry. Meanest girl I ever did know, and her name was Devilish Mary. Now me and Mary began to spark, and she got in a hurry. Fixed it up that very night. We'd marry the very next Thursday. Come a fa-la-ling-a-ling-a-Larry. Meanest girl I ever did know, and her name was Devilish Mary.
That's not to say that this Mary is like you Marys. Oh no.
We hadn't been married about 2 weeks when she got mean as a devil. And every time I said a word, she hit me on the head with a shovel. Come a fa-la-ling-a-ling-a-Larry. Meanest girl I ever did know, and her name was Devilish Mary. She washed my clothes and also would. She peeled my back with switch. Oh man, she let me know right from the start she meant to wear my breeches. Come a fa-la-ling-a-ling-a-Larry. Meanest girl I ever did know, and her name was Devilish Mary. Best we parted. No sooner had I said these words than out the door she started. Come a fa-la-ling-a-ling-a-Larry. Meanest girl I ever did know, and her name was Devilish Mary. Now if ever I marry again, it'll be for love, not riches. Marry a girl about 2 feet tall so she can wear my breeches. Come a fa-la-ling-a-ling-a-Larry. Meanest girl I ever did know, and her name was Devilish Mary. Come a fa-la-ling-a-ling-a-Larry. Meanest girl I ever did know, and her name was Devilish Mary.
Thank you. Give it that to Mary. Oh, I have a poem for Mary. Some people say that fleas are black, and I know this is not so. For Mary had a little lamb with fleas as white as snow. Thank you.
Oh, I got one.
Another poem.
Yes. When Mary had a little lamb, the doctor was surprised. But when old MacDonald had a farm, the doctor nearly died.
Say, was that rural delivery?
Yeah.
Mary had a little lamb. The butcher killed it dead. Now it goes to school with her between 2 slices of bread.
Oh, I got another one.
Another one. Okay.
Yeah,
What's
you'll
this
like
one?
this one. Mary had a little lamb. She also had a bear. Now, I've often seen her little lamb, but I've never seen...
No. We're sorry about that. We will not let him finish that poem because not here on the sacred soil of Virginia. No, we won't do that. Have you ever had one of those days when nothing ever seemed to go right?
Counting today?
Oh, yes. Well, here's a tale of a young Irishman who had a particularly bad day on the job. So terrible was his day that he could not go to work the next. And he knew that he would be fired if he did not excuse his absence with a note to his boss. Dear boss, I write to you today to tell you of me plight. For at this time of writing I am not a pretty sight. Me body is all black and blue and me face a deadly grey. And I hope you'll understand why Paddy's not at work today. I was working on the 14th floor, some bricks I had to clear. And throwing them down from such a height was not a good idea. The foreman wasn't very kind, he was an awful sod, and he said I'd have to take them down the ladder in me hod. Now shifting all them bricks by hand, it seemed so awful slow. So I hoisted up a barrel and secured a rope below. But in my haste to do the job, I was too blind to see that a barrel full of building bricks was heavier than me. Well, I climbed down, untied the rope, and the barrel fell like lead. And clinging tightly to that rope, I started up instead. I shot up like a rocket, and to my dismay I found that halfways up I met the bloody barrel coming down. Well, the barrel broke me shoulder as to the ground it sped, and when I reached the top I struck the pulley with me head. I still hung on though numbed and shocked from this almighty blow, and the barrel spilled out half the bricks 14 floors below. Now when those bricks had fallen from the barrel's open end, sure I then outweighed that barrel and I started to descend. Still hanging on for mortal fear, I rapidly did drop, and looking down, of course, I saw the barrel coming up. Well, I grit me teeth and crossed me legs and closed me eyes to pray, but the barrel caught me cuffs and tore me trousers right away. Now wearing just me flannel drawers, I headed for the ground, and I fell among the broken bricks that were all scattered round. As I lay there moaning on the floor, I thought I'd passed the worst, when the barrel struck the pulley wheel, sure, and did the bottom burst. A shower of bricks came down on me, I hadn't got a hope, and as I was losing consciousness, I let go the bloody rope. Now the barrel being heavier, it started down once more, and it landed right across me as I lay there on the floor. I broke 3 ribs in my left arm, and I can only say that I hope you'll understand why Paddy's not at work today. Thank you, Misery Lovers. Sing along with this one. You know this one. Sing along with us now.
In Dublin's fair city, where girls are so pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone, as she pushed her wheelbarrow through streets broad and narrow, flying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, flying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. She was a fishmonger, and sure 'twas no wonder, for so was her father and mother before, and they each pushed their barrow through streets broad and narrow, flying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, flying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh.
Ah, what a lovely song. And you know, not only can you sing along with it, but you can sway along with it too. Let's practice our swaying. Sway to the right, sway to the left, and back again. And when the chorus comes around, you don't have to overdo it now.
She died of a fever, and no one could save her, and that was the end of my Molly Malone. Our ghost wheels that barrow through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. In Dublin's fair city, where girls are so pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone, as she pushed her wheelbarrow through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh.
Give yourselves a hand now. Fine singing.
And swinging. Thank you much.
The Irish were not the only immigrant group to provide great numbers to the armies of North and South, and especially in the North. Another immigrant group actually outnumbered the Irish as far as non-Americans to join up. These are the Germans. Do we have anyone with some German in him, perhaps? Yeah? Yeah. Say yeah. Well, now we sing a German song, because we Germans had our favorite generals, too. We had General Schurz and General Osterhaus and General Schimmelpfennig. But our favorite general was from St. Louis, Missouri. That is General Franz Sigel, who brought an army right down to the Shenandoah Valley. before he decided to go back to St. Louis. But now we goes to fight mit Siegel, yeah? And we are in trouble here because we have only string instruments. We don't have our German band with us. We usually travel with. So over here, we're short one or two oompas. So over here is this side of the audience. You would please say for me, boom. Ready? Boom. Okay, now hold that. Don't forget your part. Over here, you please will say chick. Okay, now we try them together, yeah? You see what a nice German sound that is. I comes just now to tell you how I goes with regimentals to schlag them foes of liberty like them old continentals. But fights with England long ago to save that Yankee eagle. But now I gets mine soldier clothes and I goes to fight mit Siegel. Ja, das ist true, I speaks with you. I goes to fight mit Siegel. Boom, chick, boom, where's my booms? Chick, boom, chick, boom, chick, boom, chick, boom, chick, boom. When I come from der Deutsch country, sometimes I works at baking. Then I keeps a lager beer saloon, and then I go shoemaking. But now I was a soldier been to save that Yankee eagle and give them rebel fellers fits. I goes to fight mit Siegel. Sing, ja, das ist true, I speaks with you. I goes to fight. Now, boom chicks, ready? Boom chick, boom chick, boom. Now, where's my chicks now? Boom chick, boom chick, boom chick, boom. Die Deutschen men mit Siegels Band fighting have no rival. Und wenn Jeff Davis men's we meet, we schlag them like der Teufel. There's only one thing that I fear when battling for the eagle. We won't get not no lager beer when we goes to fight mit Siegel. Ja, das ist true, I speaks with you. I goes to fight mit Siegel. Let's hear some boom. Boom, chick. Now, you booms can be chicks and you chicks can be booms. This is America. We give everybody a chance. Lots more booms. For rations they could salty pork. I think that was a great sale. I better likes their sauerkraut, their Schwitzer Kais und Pretzel. If fighting Joe will give us them, we'll save that Yankee eagle. Und I'll put my Frau in preacher rooms to go and fight mit Siegel. Ja, das ist true, I speaks with you. I goes to fight mit Siegel. Yeah, yeah, das ist gut. And now I have a German joke for you. Won't you will laugh? Not yet, wait. Meine Hund eine Nase nicht haben.
What?
I am sorry, in English, my dog doesn't have a nose.
Then how does he smell?
Just terrible. More groaning, please.
What do you expect from people who don't have a word for fluffy?
Well, we don't know who wrote this next song, but we know for one thing for sure. He was not a happy Confederate. Not happy with the way the war turned out, and not happy with Reconstruction. It's one of the few songs that we know that actually uses a curse word in it, and which is very, very unusual for the period. But we know for a fact that he is not going to stay behind and subject himself to the Reconstruction.
I'm a good old rebel, now that's just what I am. I'm for this land of freedom, I do not care a damn. I'm glad I fit against it, I only wish we'd won. And I don't want no pardon for anything I've done. I hate the Constitution, this great republic too. I hate the Freedman's Bureau and uniforms of blue. I hate their nasty eagle with all its brags and fuss. And the lying, thieving Yankees, I hate them worse and worse. I hate the Yankee nation and everything they do. I hate the Declaration of Independence too. I hates their glorious Union, 'tis dripping with our blood. And I hates their striped banner, I fitted all I could. I followed old Moss Robert for 4 years nearabout. Got wounded in 3 places and stopped at Pine Lookout. I caught some rheumatism camping in the snow, but I killed me a chance of Yankees and I'd like to kill some more. 300,000 Yankees is stiff in southern dust. We got 300,000 before they conquered us. They died of southern fever and southern steel and shot. And I wish it was 3 million instead of what we got. Now I can't take up my musket and fight 'em out no more, but I ain't gonna love 'em, and that's for certain sure. And I don't want no pardon for what I was and am, and I won't be reconstructed, and I don't care a damn.
Craig Wolford, cheerful little ditty. Had a request for this next one. It's called The Yellow Rose of Texas. That goes by you, wasn't it? Was a request by you over there? Who requested this song? Is he still here? There he is, okay. I knew it was one of them fellers that was sitting down. You can always tell. Well, they tune up there. Let me tell you, have you ever traced your heritage back? I have. I know, for example, that my great-great-great-aunt Edna was at the Boston Tea Party. You know that? I'm very proud of that.
Great-Aunt Edna was at the Boston Tea Party?
Yeah, yeah. She was the first bag thrown overboard. You didn't know that? You didn't know that? Oh, my Uncle Henry? Oh, well, that's a long story, I guess, but...
It's not that far out of tune. No.
It's not that far out of tune, I could tell you about Uncle Henry.
In fact, I think I got it now.
All right. Desperation.
Little known fact, more Civil War soldiers were killed tuning their instruments than in any other action of the war. There's a yellow rose in Texas that I'm going to see. No other darky knows her, no darky only me. She cried so when I left her, it like to broke my heart. And if I ever find her, we never more will part. She's the sweetest rose of color this darky ever knew. Her eyes are bright as diamonds, they sparkle like the dew. When we talk about your dearest May and sing of Rosalie, but the yellow rose of Texas beats the bells of Tennessee. Where the Rio Grande is flowing and the starry skies are bright, she walks beside the river in the quiet summer's night. She thinks if I remember when we parted long ago, I promised to come back again and not to leave her so. She's the sweetest rose of color this darky ever knew. Her eyes are bright as diamonds, they sparkle like the dew. We talk about your dearest May and sing of Rosalie, but the yellow rose of Texas beats the bells of Tennessee. Oh, now I'm going to find her, for my heart is full of woe. We'll sing this song together that we sang so long ago. We'll play the banjo gaily and we'll sing the songs of yore. And the yellow rose of Texas shall be mine forevermore. She's the sweetest rose of color this darky ever knew. Her eyes as bright as diamonds, they sparkle like the dew. And we talk about your dearest May and sing of Rosalie, but the yellow rose of Texas beats the bells of Tennessee. Yes, the yellow rose of Texas beats the bells of Tennessee. Thank you.
of the hat to the old Texas man there. And now,
Aha!
a challenge.
Yes, a challenge. This is one of the prettier love songs to come out of the Civil War time period. I've seen a lot of different things written about this song. I'm not sure what of the information I've seen is correct and what's not. One of the more interesting stories about the song is that the two gentlemen who wrote the song, when they found they needed a three-syllable name to fit the rhythm of the music that they had already composed, decided that since they were both fans of Edgar Allan Poe, they would take the name Lenore from his poem The Raven and rearrange the letters just a little bit to come up with the name Lorena. Supposedly before this song, the name Lorena did not exist. The years creep slowly by, Lorena. The snow is on the grass again. The sun's low down the sky, Lorena. The frost gleams where the flowers have been. But the heart throbs on as warmly now as when the summer days were nigh. Oh, the sun can never dip so low adown affection's cloudless sky. 100 months have passed, Lorena, since last I held that hand in mine and felt the pulse beat fast, Lorena, though mine beat faster far than thine. 100 months 'twas flowery May, when on the hilly slope we climbed to watch the dying of the day and hear the distant church bells chime. We loved each other then, Lorena, more than we ever dared to tell. And what we might have been, Lorena, had but our loving prospered well. But then 'tis past, the years have gone. I'll not call up their shadowy forms. I'll say to them, lost years, sleep on. Sleep on, nor heed life's pelting storms. The story of the past, Lorena, alas, I care not to repeat. The hopes that could not last, Lorena, they live but only live to cheat. I would not cause in one regret to rankle in your bosom now, for if we try we may forget were words of thine long years ago. Yes, these were words of thine, Lorena. They are within my memory yet. They touch some tender chords, Lorena, which thrill and tremble with regret. 'Twas not the woman's heart which spoke. My heart was always true to me. A duty stern and piercing broke the tie that linked my soul to thee. It matters little now, Lorena. The past is in eternal past. Our hearts will soon lie low, Lorena. ebbing out so fast. There is a future, oh thank God, of life. This is so small a part, is dust to dust beneath the sun. But there, up there, 'tis hard to part.
Mad Dog Luce, Mr. Lorena, they call him. Thank you. Did I mention to you folks that we still have a few thousand tapes and CDs left? Yeah, you guys did pretty well up there, but you know, there's still a lot more. This is a gem, a souvenir that's handmade in America. Now you can go down to any store and you can get yourself something at Walmart made in China. You can get them genuine Indian moccasins made in Burma, you know, for about 10 cents a day by them children over there. You can get, you know, t-shirts made in communist Yugoslavia. But this here is an American souvenir. You want to buy American. Every American wants to buy America, keep his American money with Americans. Sure you do. This souvenir, this string band tape of us, the 97th Regimental String Band, is made the old-fashioned way, the same way that they made string band tapes way back in the 19th century. As I stand before you right now, oh, we call carefully researched and everything. My grandmother sits at home by the kitchen table, right in Florida. She sits at home, right by that kitchen table, knitting each one of these tapes by hand out of the very finest steel wool, knitting into every inch of the warp and the weft of this tape, the words and the music. And it's not for us. It's for you. It's for each and every one of you. You wouldn't want to disappoint old Grandma, would you? I know you wouldn't. And I told Granny when I left, I said, enough of them kind and wonderful and gullible folks up there in Lynchburg, Virginia, buy our 97th Regimental String Band tape. Why, Granny, if enough of them buy this tape, I'm going to rush right home and untie you from that kitchen table leg. You know, and she started sewing. She just lighted right up. Because we have 7 different tapes, 7 different CDs. And, you know, not a penny of the money from the sale of this tape goes to us. I shouldn't tell you this, but my sister's going to have an operation. When my little baby sister was born, she must have seen about it in the newspapers and something like this. Ain't nothing them Siamese twins, I'll tell you that. My little baby sister was born with a 2-pound earlobe on her right ear. 2-pound earlobe on that little baby girl's ear. Her left ear had absolutely no earlobe at all. You remember my sister, Eileen? Yeah, you saw about the National Choir and such like that. Well, when we get enough money from kind folks like you, we're going to hire us a microsurgeon. I said a microsurgeon, one of them little bitty doctors. He's going to climb up on her shoulder here and snoop a little off over here and attach it over here so she can lead an upright life. And it'll be thanks to you, ladies and gentlemen. Remember our slogan, 97th Regimental String Band tapes. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll kiss. $10. Yeah, remember. That's good. I'd like to finish out the concert now with the 2 most famous songs of the American Civil War. Okay, let's get a full Monty tonight.
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He has loosed the fateful lightning of his terrible sword. His truth is marching on.
I know you know this part. Sing!
Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on.
Here comes the memory text.
I have seen him in the watchfires of 100 certain camp. They have builded him an altar in the evening dews and damp. I can read his righteous steps by the dim and flaring lamp. His day is marching on.
Now the easy part.
Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. I have read a fiery gospel writ in burnished rows of steel. As ye deal with my contemners, so with you my grace shall deal. Let the hero born of woman crush the serpent with his heel, since God is marching on. Glory, glory, He has sounded forth the trumpet that shall never call retreat. He is sifting out the hearts of men before his judgment seat. Oh, be swift, my soul, to answer him, be true and at my feet. Our God is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. In the beauty of the lilies, Christ was born across the sea, with the glory in his bosom that transfigures you and me. As he died to make men holy, let us die to make men free, while God is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on.
Give yourselves a hand. Mighty fine singing.
Well, that was one of the more popular songs in the North during the Civil War. A lady by the name of Julia Ward Howe took an old Southern Methodist hymn tune and sat down in the space of 24 hours, composed 5 new verses for the song. Nowhere in the song did she mention the war, because she wanted it to be a good church hymn that would live past the war, and she succeeded in that. One of the more popular songs in the North. The most popular song in the South, without a doubt, was written by a Northern gentleman, Daniel Decatur Emmett. He sat down in the space of 24 hours, composed 5 verses for his song. Nowhere in his song does he mention the war, because he wrote it a year or so before the war. Actually, it's a love song. Not many folks know that because they've never heard all 5 verses. You're in luck tonight. You're going to get the whole dose. This song was very popular in the North at the beginning of the war, and it's always been one of President Lincoln's favorite songs.
It is?
He doesn't request it much anymore.
No. Starts with a yeehaw. May I have a Virginia yeehaw, please? Supai.
I wish I was in the land of cotton, old tongues are and not forgotten. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. In Dixieland where I was born, and early on one frosty morning. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. Then I wish I was in Dixie, hooray, hooray. In Dixieland I took my stand and live and die in Dixie. Away, 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 away down south Dixie. Away, 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 away.
Now here's the love story.
Dixie. Oh, Mrs. Mary Willie Weeder, William was a gay singer. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. But when he put his arm around her, he smiled as fierce as a 40-pounder. Look away, look away, look away.
Now sing.
Then I wish I was in Dixie, hooray, hooray. In Dixieland I took my stand and live and die in Dixie. Away, 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 away down south Dixie. Away, 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 away down south Dixie. His face was sharp as a butcher's cleaver, but that did not seem to grieve her. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. Oh, Mrs. acted the foolish part, died for a man that broke her heart. Look away, look away, look away.
Now sing, y'all.
Then I wish I was in Dixie, hooray, hooray. In Dixieland I took my stand and live and die in Dixie. Away, 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 away down south Dixie. Away, 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 away down south Dixie. Now here's a health to the next old missus, all the gals that want to kiss us. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. But if you want to drive away sorrow, come and hear this song tomorrow. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. Then I wish I was in Dixie, hooray, hooray. In Dixieland I took my stand and live and die in Dixie. Away, 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 away down south Dixie. Away, 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 away down south Dixie.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this brings us to the end of our journey in our musical time machine. We're the 97th Regimental String Band, singers, songsters, storytellers from America's musical heritage and past. Glad you made the journey. I hope you are too. Hope you buy a tape or a CD to take the music with you. But even if you don't buy anything at all, you take these songs that we've sung tonight with you. Keep them where they belong. Keep them in your heads. Keep them in your hearts. most of all, keep them in your mouths. Keep singing the old songs, because that's how we pass it along.
Josh buckwheat cakes and engine batter makes you fat or little fatty. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. Can I hold it down and scratch your gravel? Dixieland, I'm bound travel. Look away, look away, look away.
Now sing it once more.
Can we showers in Dixie? Hooray, hooray! In Dixieland, I'll take my stand and live and die in Dixie. Away, 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 away down south, Dixie. Away, 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 away down south in Dixie.
Yeehaw! Thank you.
Thank you much.
Thank you, Greg Starbuck, for his hospitality and his good taste in having us here. Thank you all very much. That's okay. We can give you one more. Sit out of here now. That's easy. Music to hear the car door slam by. Or as they used to call it in the business, playing to the haircuts. Yeah, let's just do Wait for the Wagon. How about that one? That's a good one. We've got time for one, and of course,
everybody has their wagon here. So.
I guess they can see this and get their eyes and buy stuff. Yeah.
One of the few songs we've come across with the name Phyllis.
Is there anyone named Phyllis out there? This is your song.
We'll go ahead and get started. You'll catch up with it. Won't you come with me, my Phyllis dear, to yonder mountain free, where blossoms smell the sweetest? Come roll along with me. It's every Sunday morning when I am by your side. We'll jump into the wagon and we'll all take a ride. I say wait for the wagon, wait for the wagon, yes wait for the wagon, and we'll all take a ride. Where the river runs like silver and the birds they sing so sweet. I have a cabin, Phyllis dear, and something.
You know what a 500-pound canary says?
Story, it will relieve my
Here, kitty, kitty. Here, kitty, kitty.
the wagon, and now
Sing
we
now.
will start. I say wait for the wagon, wait for the wagon, yes wait for the wagon, and we'll all take a ride. Do you believe my Phyllis dear, old Mike with all his wealth could make you half so happy as I with youth and health? We'll have a little farm, a horse, a pig and cow, and you will mind the dairy while I do guide the plow. I say wait for the wagon, wait for the wagon, yes wait for the wagon, and we'll all take a ride. Hey Rick!
What is it, Mad Dog?
Knock knock!
Who's there?
Interrupting cow!
Interrupting.
Moo!
Got me. I love a good cow joke.
Your lips are red as poppies, your hair so slick and neat, all braided up with dahlias and a hollyhock so sweet. It's every Sunday morning when you are by my side. We jump into the wagon and we'll all take a ride. I say wait for the wagon, wait for the wagon, yes wait for the wagon, and we'll all take a ride.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. From Lake City, Florida, on the banjo and mandolin, Mr. Craig Wolford. The beautiful tenor voice and the fine guitar playing, Mr. Mad Dog Luce. And me, the rotten jokes and the bass playing, somewhat tremulous, Rick Moock.
Together on life's journey we'll travel till we stop, and if we have no trouble we'll reach the happy top. So come with me, my Phyllis, my dear, my lovely bride. Let's jump into the wagon and we'll all take a ride. I say wait for the wagon, wait for the wagon, yes wait for the wagon, and we'll all take a ride. I say wait for the wagon, wait for the wagon, yes wait for the wagon, and we'll all take a ride.
Thank you all very much. Take your home.
Good night.